started with the public hearing for the additional appropriation. We'll take roll call. Mark?
Here.
Stan?
Here.
Ron?
Here.
Carla? And I'm here, so we definitely have a quorum. I'll open it up. Is there any public comment about the additional appropriation? Okay. Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and hand it over to Ron for the utility board.
Utility board will come to order here. We did the roll call. So we need to talk about our road grants. Colin, you want to explain them?
Sure thing.
We need to award that and see.
So we opened bids last Friday, and we got 4 bidders. DC Construction, Midwest Paving, Milestone Contractors, and Reed Riley. DC Construction was the lowest responsive bidder at $337,482. And our recommendation from Dave Buck, our engineer, is to award it to DC Construction for that amount. And I give everybody the bid tab so you can kind of see where they were low and high on and compared to everybody else.
I love these. They fit very conveniently with all my other papers. They're not awkward
Well,
at all. So thank
I
you.
originally printed them on 8.5 by 11, and I was doing this. I couldn't see it, so I tried to make them a little bit bigger so you can.
Must be because your eyes are so old.
Anybody have any comments on this? Discussion on it? You check, DC's quite a bit lower, quite a bit.
They are quite a bit lower. If you look at their mode and demode and their construction engineering costs, especially on the Shady Lane and Yost Drive projects, if you compared to some other people, they were well under everybody else. I mean, right there is about $30,000 difference. Some of the unit prices are a little lower. They did bid this pretty aggressively. They just were awarded Thorntown, so I'm guessing they're trying to get some work in the area since they got one, they're trying to get a couple more. They were the apparent low bidder in another community as well yesterday. So it sounds like they're just being aggressive in the market. I know a few of the other ones have pretty full schedules, so I'm guessing they did that accordingly.
Do you feel comfortable?
We did. We've called a few people around that internally we've worked with them on a project up in Yorktown twice, and then we've also reached out to a couple of other people as well and worked with them. So we feel comfortable. We have no reason not to trust it.
Any comments from the council?
Are you freezing? It's very cold.
From the public? Okay, we need a motion to go ahead and have DC do it. Construction.
Make a motion, we award a bid to DC Construction for $337,482.32.
Okay, we got a bid a motion by Stan, a second by Carla to have DC Construction do all our street work for $337,482.32. We'll take that vote on it. Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And Ron? I say yes. So we'll go ahead.
Do we need a motion to allow somebody to sign everything that comes up for it?
Okay, make a motion to have Jen sign everything that's needed for this project.
Yep, which I have the first piece of paper here, which is the bid acceptance.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Ron and a second by Carla to have Jen do all the signing for our street work that comes up. Any comments?
Two copies there.
We'll have a vote. Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And Ron, I say yes, so Jen will be our signer.
And right there's the bid acceptance form, so we'll get that and start getting the agreement ready with DC. And then once we do that, we'll get you a letter that you'll need to sign to get back to NDOT for the do the money, you guys are awarded more than what that is, so you'll have a different amount of money that you're gonna be asking for.
Perfect. Do you need both of these back, or are
I
you just
just
giving
need
me one for
The
Carl?
one for you, and then I'm gonna give you all of these back. And I just need one so we can give it to. This is DC.
Suppose you'll be wanting this. No.
I can make more of those.
Okay.
That bag, I can just give you one copy. If I gave you 2 copies, I need one signed and one. you guys
Did I
keep.
just hand this?
Yes.
I put it in that second. But then you put a sticky note on it. That would have been lost forever.
This back here, and that one would go with this.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, you sign that one too, though, just for the record. We do all the work on getting them to do that piece.
Sorry.
Is there anything else that you guys need from us, or?
Get
And
us
it's
on
starting
the list
tomorrow?
right away.
Well, we're gonna, as soon as we can, Mike Smith will be the inspector, so he will be, the inspector out here when it's happening, so as soon as we get the agreement signed back from them, they get all their bonds issued, we will set up pre-con immediately, and then, we'll get going.
Super
They have
exciting.
until, I think, end of October to be done, but we'll see where they are in the schedule to get them.
Check with him to get him on that, having that meeting down here. So,
We'll do. Yeah, I talked to him Friday about that. He's gonna push again this week.
all right,
Thank you,
yeah.
Colin.
Before he takes off, is it his, would it be his firm that would be involved in the police station water? Or, I don't know who does that.
Like to get the water bill.
Yeah, I don't know if that's them or, I don't know how that works. I mean, we need to discuss it, we're not making a decision. But I didn't know if you wanted to stay until after we discussed that.
We
Colin loves
usually
hanging out.
they supervise it and stuff.
Pardon me?
They sort of supervise it. Okay, Alicia, attorney, you have anything?
Yeah, we have the permit fee ordinance for changing the fee for the tap permit. Find my paper. So in order to do that, we have to do an ordinance and then have a public hearing. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to introduce the ordinance tonight and read it on first reading, but not on second reading. And then next meeting, we will have a public hearing on it to see if the public has any input, and then we can approve it, if you so choose, at the second meeting. In the next meeting, which is in June.
So we doing that right
Yes, if you want to. So basically, this is what we discussed last time of changing the tap fee to $600.
now? And then 25 for the instructions.
Yep, that stayed the same. So the only thing that's changed in this is from 400 to 600.
Jen, can you read this? Since you-
Well, we don't have to go through all of them because we are not passing it. So no, Jen doesn't know how to do that. Do I give an ordinance number even though we're not passing it, or do I wait
Well,
until?
so technically speaking, it would need to, the utility service board really can't do ordinances, so it really need to be the council that would pass the ordinance anyway. But you will give it an ordinance number. You'll do the first reading, and then you'll do the motion to read by title only, and then you'll do the first reading, and that's it. And then we'll stop, and then next meeting I'll walk you through it, but we should do it at the regular meeting.
Okay.
I just wanted to bring it up at this one.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Anything else on that?
No.
Okay. Next, the wastewater credit ordinance decision. Go ahead.
Well, so, is there an ordinance written that's specific to this right now?
Just our old one. You get up to 3 months wastewater credit for water lawn, for irrigating your lawn.
The first summer after new construction.
Right, right. I read the ordinance for camping tonight. So, I know you're wanting to change that, but what I'm saying is, how can we make a decision on it? Don't we have to have this?
Well, no, we didn't, there's nothing to, we're not making a decision on an ordinance, we're making a decision on what to put in the ordinance. We haven't told her anything we want to do.
Yes, I can't draft it till I know what you want.
Yeah.
So that, the word decision in here is
Sorry,
confused me.
I
Okay.
was trying my best.
We want the same ordinance, we just want to not limit it to 1 year, right? So
Well-
that they can do their irrigation.
Or to new construction. I thought, or to new construction, I thought you were doing, the idea was to open it to everybody as opposed to just new construction.
Like open it to everybody that has an irrigation system,
Yeah,
whether
anybody
they
that's
just built their
irrigation
house or
system
they.
in town,
Well-
or anybody that builds their
I mean,
house.
that's the intent, was to discuss that, whether we would or not, I don't know, but.
But why would, I don't know about, why would you limit it to somebody who just has an irrigation system? If somebody wants to take a hose out and water their lawn, should they be entitled to that as well?
That's what you have to decide.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know that
so I feel like that would be really hard to keep track of, right? Like, I could tell you I watered my lawn with my hose, or I watered my children with my hose, but you don't know. So if it's gonna be hard to keep track of, it almost feels like maybe we just give everybody some sort of wastewater credit during the summer months, assuming that they've,
What other communities do is they have an averaging system. So what they do is they look at the 3 months prior to, which you've got in your ordinance, but they look at 3 months prior to, and they see what their water level was and their sewer level was, and then they compare that to the summer months. And if they can, if they come in the summer and they say, hey, I want a credit because I've been watering my kids, then they see if that is in fact higher, and they give them that credit for the water portion only, or for the sewer portion only. They still pay for the water, and then what they will do is they'll allow them a credit only during certain months, so that they can request a credit in, say, June, July, and August, or something like that. Or they allow it one time a year. That's common too, but that's what a lot of other communities do. So then you don't have to really, you don't really care specifically what they're doing. If they say, we would like a credit, they apply for the credit. You look at the 3 months before, and if it is in fact higher, during the summer, then you kind of assume that it's not going this summer
Right.
and it's going in the ground.
right?
So,
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
I thought you had to have a split system. We had to take ours off the well. So the well runs my outside hose beds, and then the city water doesn't go outside. Or do they have to have a backflow preventer now?
No, they were all, when everybody discontinued their wells, their town manager would inspect it at that time, be sure there was nothing still hooked together,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't think they had to have a backflow preventer in there. But I think there's only 6 people still on a well in town, okay?
Yeah, full well.
But we have wells at our house, and then we have the city water.
Yeah.
They're not connected.
Okay,
at all.
I just thought I'd ask.
So this is just for the city water, for people that, in these new additions, they don't have wells.
Yeah.
They couldn't keep the well, so everything they irrigate or fill a pool or whatever is city water. And our ordinance says you can have 3 months credit for 1 year for new construction or
Okay,
for
well,
housing and stuff.
I guess I thought, I'm just surprised they don't have backflow preventers on there, because that could suck, bacteria right in the water system, so.
Well, the backflow preventer, there is a state law that requires a backflow prevention device, but this would be using, what we're talking about is using city water just to water the grass and getting a credit for that. So it wouldn't have anything to do with the well.
Well,
Yeah, now
I
you-
realize that.
If you hooked your city water back to your pipes that were from the well, that's when you get that backflow and contamination. and everything.
And then you would be required to have that.
Then you,
Okay.
yeah.
so if we got 3 months prior to April, May, I don't know what the month's gonna be, 3 months.
What is the
later.
month?
June, July, August.
June, July, August, okay, so you take the average of those 3 months, right? And then you look at what the usage is for the next 3 months, and if your usage for those 3 months is greater than the average of those previous 3 months, then you could ask for a credit. Is it, how, so putting these numbers together with the past 3 months has been, is that going to be an issue?
No,
Is it going to be hard to do?
no, they would have to, the resident has to come to us and ask for it.
Right.
It's just not something, like with the Baker Farm, the residents out there that have received the wastewater credits, they come to us.
Okay.
And they get it for June, July, and August, and some of them they had to wait because they didn't have any average bills until even December and January. And then some of them had average bills, before the summer months hit. So if their average bill was 3,000 gallons and they had used, 10,000, then they were getting a 7,000 gallon wastewater credit.
So if you have a new construction, it's kind of be different than if you've got existing construction and then you want to ask for that credit. So it almost feels like there might have to be 2 tiers to this thing.
I would
in order to
probably,
do it, right?
yeah, so I'd probably leave your existing ordinance alone for new construction, that they can get a credit for 1 year, and then just do a new ordinance provision that provides, for anybody else. Because the new construction might have to go 3 future months, right? Whereas
Right.
people who have been there for a while, I suppose if they had just moved in, then they might have to go, but
That seems like that would be a good idea. So, Bridget, from your experience, would it be better to issue the credit monthly or to do it at the end of the 3 months?
It's easier monthly, honestly,
Okay.
but that's a decision that,
Well, yeah, I just,
Yeah, but you still take the average of 3 months prior to that.
Right,
Yeah, to
Right.
establish your.
right. They have to establish normalcy. They have to,
And then we do presume what you just said, we want earlier, we wanted that they have to come in here and apply for it.
right.
Right.
Or call, can they call? Yeah.
Is there any benefit to actually using people's real numbers instead of what their consumption says? Like, you know how our bills are like, if you use 2,300, well, it doesn't, like it says 2,000, then it adds your 300 to the next month, you know what I'm talking about? Like, you don't get billed for your actual amount. Like, is there any benefit to looking at actual
You're
numbers and
taking the
averaging?
3-month average, so that should roll over and be pretty close.
Right.
And you use 2,300, 2,300, 2,300, it'll pop it up to the 100 gallons.
Right, on the 4th month, it would pop it up.
Yeah.
But it would say you were using 2,000 for those 3 months. I don't know, maybe it's not worth the hassle. I just know our bills are kind of wonky.
what,
They are. What that would require, though, to get an exact number, because our system will read an exact number, but it rounds it up once it pulls it into Keystone. So we would have to have all those individually read that applied for that credit to get an exact number. Does that make sense?
Like, you
So
can't
that-
go back and look at the numbers?
You can go back 90 days on that system, yeah.
Oh, that wouldn't
Right,
work then, because we would need the number from
Yeah.
6
Right.
months ago by the time they,
yeah.
so maybe that's just not even worth.
it doesn't sound like it's going to be more of a logistics nightmare for
Well, you can't do it, I mean, it's not possible.
whoever's doing it.
Scott.
So, well,
Scott has something good.
okay,
Have
so,
you considered summer rates across the board like Lafayette does? They change their water and sewer rates from May to September. Doesn't appear that they have to fiddle with usage.
They have the power and the money to offer rates and give credits and not worry about where the money goes. We don't have that luxury, so I think we need to do it this way.
Yeah, I feel like that would take a whole other study to see if that's even a,
that would be my recommendation. If you're gonna do that, we need to do a rate study and make sure that that's sustainable, or
Yeah.
else we probably shouldn't.
so, but this isn't going to be just for people with systems, right?
Anybody that asks.
Anybody that asks.
There might be filling a 10,000-gallon pool,
Right.
you know, and they want to get that wastewater credit, or they have a
I think if we,
hose that breaks out on the lawn and it runs 5 minutes.
I think if we do anything, we have to make it available to everybody, not just the select.
Well, they have it now, you know, you realize that they have a faucet's running or somebody, a line that breaks, they don't come in, they do come in and apply. So
Right.
We don't have that. That's not an ordinance, which maybe needs to be addressed. I'm just saying, I've never seen an ordinance that addresses that.
well,
They don't have
20
things,
years
but
ago.
I know, I'm just saying.
It's just acting in fairness.
So that it's fair to everybody, is the thing.
So what I'm hearing is that we want to do a credit for wastewater. We're going to look at the prior 3 months and average those. We're going to allow it for any resident, but they must apply by contacting the town. And they will get a credit for wastewater only if their water bill is higher during the summer months of June, July, and August. Is that correct? Okay, I can do that. Anything else you guys want?
Try that and see what happens.
Okay, I'll get that drafted.
Okay,
Oh, I don't know.
who?
Who's
Cindy,
that one
like-
back there?
Cindy Mars, 749 Shady Lane. I just want to clarify, that's for anybody that has water running that does not go into the sewer, correct? So if somebody has a neighborhood kid who turned a hose on and left it running all weekend while they were gone, or they're filling their pool for their kid, I mean, it's not just
Yes,
watering
yes.
grass, right?
Like they've
It's
always
for
done, they
anybody.
come in here for broken pipes, for the kid that turns it on, for,
But what if they have a leaky toilet?
no, it goes down.
Then it goes down, so
Then
there's
you
no
go
credit.
down to
I just
sixes
think
and
it'd
you
be
don't-
as much
you
as
don't
you
get a
can
credit.
get specified, the better.
I don't know how you get it, how would you ever know if it went down the sewer?
Well, if it's
I
a
mean-
leaky toilet, I think that's pretty
Well, some
guaranteed.
people have come in, you know, they always come in and they ask, my toilet, how many people
Well,
come in?
they'll show up
They-
on the
My
leak
toilet
report.
constantly runs. Well, you tell them it goes down the sewer right away.
Well, and I think we'll put in the ordinance that it's for the purposes of lawn watering, you know, pool filling, summer activities that go into the ground. But you're gonna have to rely on people's goodwill to a degree, because we're just not gonna have any way of.
We've done several though, that one big thing around here is where, when that pipe leaves that meter pit, goes to the house, we've had quite a few broken and separated lines. They didn't get hooked up right away, or the heating and thawing, or going into the house, they break. And those people apply for a wastewater credit too.
Because the water's going to the ground, not
Yeah,
the-
yeah, it's not
Yeah.
going down the sewer.
And I think the language that I'll probably put in there is something to the effect of, you know, activities where water is used in greater consumption without such water being deposited in the sanitary sewer or something like that. You know?
Those are good words.
Came up with them right now.
Lawyery. I'm a lawyery.
But that said, I mean, we'll put language in there, but again, we're not gonna really have any way of knowing. We're just gonna kind of have to take those good words.
Okay, adjustment requests. Bridget?
What? She's not even salary clerk anymore?
She's the town clerk. Okay, we have an adjustment for the customer 608 Dayton Drive, a wastewater credit of $10.25.
They
They
use-
used a pool, they filled up a pool and used a pool meter to gauge that, so that's what the credit is.
Well, I'll make a motion that we provide the adjustment of $10.25 to the resident 608 Dayton Drive.
I second it.
Okay, we got a motion made to give this $10.25 credit. And second, we'll take a vote. Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that passes. Okay, the police station water. I think this is about supplying police stations. They're on a well now. They've never had water. Should have been put in years ago. Are we talking about we should do it and then go out and get estimates?
Well, what I'm what spurred this was when we talked about the, the COVID money last.
Mhm.
Okay, when we talked about how we might use that money, it seemed to me like this would be an excellent time to bring that water to that station. But I think we want to bring a line in that's sufficient not only to serve the station, but any future growth that might happen.
Big lot.
Yeah, west of town here, so that, however that gets tied into, that there'll be sufficient water coming to that. I do not know, so the police station is on sewer though, right now, is that right, Scott?
Yes.
Okay. So, and kind of in that, thinking about all this and being able to, what we could do with that money, we've got a couple other things to do with water too, and that's, we've got sampling stations we're gonna need to install. Is that a possibility to do that? Okay. And then, there's been talk for a long time about our meters and the system. There's some kind of an electronic system that can be purchased so that meters can be read from this building possibly.
Right up on top.
Yeah, and can do all kinds of different things. And, I know you were talking about if you have a leak, well, it'll show up on the leak report. But personally, on the building over here, I had a leak one time, and I didn't know about it for 3 or 4 days. And by then it was 12,000 gallons of water that was all over the place. So anyhow, so this system I know is pretty expensive. I had been told it was somewhere in the $40,000 range, possibly something like that. Now, is that something that might be able to be considered in that as well?
So pretty much, my understanding of what the rules are for infrastructure is that you can pretty much do any water, wastewater infrastructure as long as, like for the police station, you may get dinged if you're only doing it to get to the police station. But if you're doing it for future growth as well, then I think that would be fine. So yeah, I think you could probably get away with that as long as it's considered water infrastructure. And if we're doing electronic reads as infrastructure for, the growth and the benefit of the town, I think you could probably get away with that, no problem. They're most lenient on utilities as far as what you can spend it on. That's just been kind of I don't know why, but that's their thing. So I think we would probably be fine to do that.
So I think we should consider doing these things with, because that money's available to do that with. And I think it's kind of
Well, the money can be used for other things too, like I know those were like their big broad categories that they made it real easy, but it can be used for other things. And with our comprehensive plan almost done, there's gonna be a lot of things that come up that maybe we wanna get started on. And there's grants for a lot of things. We don't have a grant writer yet, but I know there are a ton of grants for water things, water infrastructure and clean drinking water, getting to such and such a place. Like, I realize I can't make those grants just happen, but I think there's more grants available for something like that than there would be maybe other things that we would consider using our COVID money for. I'm not saying we shouldn't get the cost to make this water stuff happen, but I don't want to commit to spending.
All our wishes, why don't we have a wish list and we go, maybe you could start getting the costs and we have it down. If there's grant money separately for that, we get it. If there's COVID money, whatever.
Is there an expiration date on when this needs to be spent? What is that?
2026.
Yeah, I think it's December 31st, 2026.
And by 2024, December 31st, 2024, it has to be, what's the word?
We have to know what we're doing with it, basically.
Yeah. Plan or, that's
Better
not the
get
word,
our,
but.
better get our water down there before Lafayette steals our land, so. Takes us there.
That's not well anyway.
So, okay, if this stuff is facilitated, how does that happen? I'm new here. Who do you?
I'm new here too. Colin, what do you know?
Well, we could, I'm looking at your GIS right now. You have water just east of Yost, going down, looks like to Dollar General line to the west and tap it in there. But we,
What size of line runs down to the gas station there when they remodeled that? I thought they put in a bigger.
12-inch.
So we could come back to just that. We don't have to come clear back to Yost. Yeah, that'd be good.
But, yeah, we could, it depends on how you want to do it, but we can, design it just to stretch down through there, along the,
How would you determine what size line you would run down?
we run a model. We've got a hydraulic model that we run.
And how does that depend, don't you have to have some kind of idea of what it's going to be providing?
Yeah, so usually when we do something like this, it'd be some kind of study. We study like the area, what users could tap onto it, and decide what kind of sizing we need, and do some feature numbers.
So this money or grant money or whatever, could this money be applied towards that study? Okay. Or grant money, whatever. Okay. I think we gotta consider this. 2024 it's around the corner. And
26 or 24?
Well, at the end of 2024, you have to know what you're using it for, and it has to be used by the end of 2026.
Correct.
Okay,
Well, yeah,
so Colin and
Colin can start.
BFS will be on it?
Just let me know what wants to do. I can have our water engineer's going to Disney tomorrow, but he will be back in a week, so.
These are for growing large pumpkins.
Yeah.
The monster ones.
I hope he doesn't come back goofy.
Yeah.
That was good. Should have said that louder. That was good.
I liked it.
So does anybody else have any thoughts on the place that that's okay with everybody to get water down there?
It's okay with me to get the whatever numbers and stuff.
Yeah, and we could look at, what we would do is, we'd look at the area and then probably come up with like 3 ideas or solutions, but usually, with this being cut and dry, there's a pipe right there, you just make sure it has the right degree on it and
Cool.
connect it, so it doesn't look too bad, and we would have to stay away from the NDOT right away, which I was just looking at, but. Yeah, there'll be some things that we can look at, but.
Yeah, when they remodeled that whole gas station, tore the whole building down, we should have hooked on them and taken it with them. They had the whole parking lot area.
Yeah, probably prime time.
Whoopsie.
I'm excited for
Yeah.
All right,
Thanks, Colin. You didn't even know you were going to do that.
I didn't know
You
that.
did it. Good
Yeah, I
job,
can have our
Bill.
guy put together like how much it would cost to do a study on it.
yeah. Okay, any public comments for the utilities? Okay, any council comments for the utilities? Mark, Stan, Jim,
No.
Tyler? When this meeting, turn it over to Jim.
Thanks. Okay, Ron's already taken roll call. Everyone's still here, so we can continue on to Alicia.
Okay, I'm stealing your agenda because I don't have mine printed. So we have on the docket first is a resolution to change your financial institution. You guys had discussed switching banks, and this would allow you to do that, and then also authorize the appropriate people to be signatories and have access to that bank account. And so that resolution is for State Bank, and it would authorize the council president and the clerk treasurer to have access to that bank information.
Do you want to do the tap permit first, or does it not really matter?
It doesn't.
Just say that. Okay, good. Does anybody have any questions about this? Okay. Any public comments or questions? Okay, this is resolution number 2023-10. I move to approve resolution number 2023-10, a resolution establishing a relationship with a financial institution and designating authorized individuals and signers on the town bank accounts. Second. There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve this resolution. Is there any comment? Question? How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that passes 5-0.
Okay, next one we can do is the tap permit. We already talked about that, but we just need to have a motion to forego the formalities and read this by title only.
I move to forego the formalities and read by title only ordinance number 2023-11 and ordinance amending ordinance chapter 52.06 tap permit. Second. Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla. Is there any questions or comments? Okay, how do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that's 5-0.
And then we just need to have a motion to, well, first we need to read it by title only.
Ordinance number 2023-11, an ordinance amending ordinance chapter 52.06 tap permit.
And then we need to have a motion to approve on first reading.
I move to approve on first reading ordinance number 2023-11 and ordinance amending ordinance chapter 52.06 tap permit.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla. Is there any questions or comments? Okay, how do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So that passes 5-0. So now this just hangs out till we have our public hearing, and then in June we'll do our final adoption of this.
After we have, yep, after
After
we have
the
the public
public
hearing. Yep. And then we had the seeded plan ordinance was next. And that is, in order to use county economic development income tax dollars, you have to adopt a capital improvement plan. So this ordinance would adopt that capital improvement plan, which has the community center purchase as part of that plan. And then you could use the seeded dollars to pay for that.
So I would move to suspend the rules and approve by title only ordinance number 2023-12, an ordinance adopting a capital improvement plan.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla. Is there any questions or comments? And this is Larry on the agenda because Larry helped us get the improvement plan ready and then Alicia did her lawyery stuff to it. How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that's approved 5-0.
Okay, and then we also want to, we need to read it by title
Yeah.
only, but then we also only want this one on first reading because we also have to have a public hearing on that.
Okay, ordinance number 2023-12, an ordinance adopting a capital improvement plan. What was my?
You're making a motion to approve on first reading.
I move to approve on first reading ordinance number 2023-12, an ordinance adopting a capital improvement plan.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla. Is there any questions or comments? How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that's approved 5-0.
Okay, next one is the additional appropriation ordinance to move funds from the seeded fund into, or appropriate funds from seeded for the purchase of the real property. That one you can do all the way.
Can I please do about that?
Yeah.
Okay. I move to suspend the rules and approve by title only ordinance 2023-13 and ordinance to appropriate additional funds.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla. Are there any discussion or questions? How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that passes 5-0. I move to read, no. Ordinance number 2023-13, an ordinance to appropriate additional funds I move to read by title only. Ordinance number 2023-13, an ordinance to appropriate additional funds. Been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla. Is there any discussion or questions? How do you vote? Mark?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that's 5-0. And then I would move to adopt ordinance number 2023-13 and ordinance.
First, you need to suspend the rules.
I was so close.
You need to, because you just did reading it by title only, right? That's what you just did. So now we need to suspend the rules so that we can adopt it after only one reading.
I move to suspend the rules and adopt after first reading ordinance number 2023-13, an ordinance to appropriate additional funds.
Second.
It's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla. Is there any questions or comments? How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So now I move to adopt? Or that would?
Yes, now you move to adopt.
I move to adopt ordinance number 2023-13, an ordinance to appropriate additional funds.
Second.
I love when you second everything because it makes doing your minutes very easy, generally. There's a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to adopt this ordinance. Is there any discussion or questions? Okay, how do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that's adopted 5-0.
Okay, and then did you get, we had
Yes.
back and forth. Do you want me to go ahead and do
Yes.
that? Okay, so we discussed at the last meeting having an ordinance to change the parking provisions so that someone who has a commercial driver's license would have a heftier fee than someone who is just a regular person driving a regular passenger vehicle for parking violations, because there have been a lot of problems with like semi-truck drivers parking and then they don't care about the fine. So I went ahead and made those penalties for that, and so we increased that first offense, second offense, third offense, and fourth offense, and we specified non-commercial vehicles have the same fine that we had before, and then commercial vehicles just have that additional fine.
You want to see? Can you read it from there, Scott? Do you want to see it? It's very short.
I made it in a nice little chart too.
Yeah, there's a convenient chart located here. So when someone complains, you can just send in this easy to read chart. Can someone please hum the Jeopardy tune? What is it?
Are you
Fast.
Okay.
All right, are there any questions? Okay. Okay, I would move to suspend the rules and approve by title only ordinance number 2023-14, and ordinance amending ordinance chapter 75.99 parking regulations penalty. Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla. Is there any discussion or questions? How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So, ordinance number 2023-14, an ordinance amending ordinance chapter 75.99 parking regulations penalty. So now I would make a motion to read by title only and suspend the rules to adopt on first reading.
Well, you can just suspend the rules and adopt on first reading. We already did the by title.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I
That's
would,
correct.
I would move to suspend the rules and adopt on first reading. Or,
Suspend the rules so that we adopt it all on first reading. You're right. Keep going.
okay, ordinance number 2023-14, an ordinance amending ordinance chapter 75.99 parking regulations penalty.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla. Is there any discussion or questions? How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that passes 5-0. Now we just adopt it. This is like the best one yet, right? We're doing so good. Nobody jinx it. I move to adopt ordinance number 2023-14, an ordinance amending ordinance chapter 75.99 parking regulations penalty.
Second.
Been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to adopt this. Is there any questions, comments? How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that is adopted 5-0.
Okay, Jen, I think that's all.
That wasn't so bad. Next one's gonna be so good, right?
Absolutely.
Right, everybody? Okay, great. Next up is the allowance docket. I move to approve the March 2023 allowance docket. No. The April 2023 allowance docket. Whoops. In the amount of $19,459.39. There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve this allowance docket. Are there any questions? How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that's approved 5-0. We don't have the reports, we're waiting on that bank check. Nope, claims docket, sorry guys. I move to approve the May 16th, 2023 claims docket in the amount of, everyone hold your breath. Hold your breath. $465,747.37.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve this claims docket. Is there any questions?
I got a question.
Yes.
Okay, so I was looking over this, and so on our insurance, $23,461, is that for the entire year?
Mhm.
That's for the year?
Mhm.
And how did that compare to last year's? Anybody have any recollection of that?
I feel like it's really close. What is it this year?
I mean, I would expect it, that they always go up. I guess is wondering if it is. Okay.
I wish I had that answer. I can look after the meeting if you want.
That's fine, that's fine. I just really wanted to know if it was for the entire year.
Yes, for sure. That was a question back there. Could you please say your name and address for the record and speak very loudly?
Cindy Marsh, 749 Shady Lane, and I thought you might want to explain why that number is just insanely high. The number on the claims docket?
Why is the number on the claims docket so high? Clerk Treasurer?
Well,
We bought a community center, okay? It costs a lot of money.
yes.
Yeah, we bought a community center, so.
And then a lot of annual stuff, like our annual fees for boys came out, and it was over $8,000. The yearly insurance, yeah, and that property. A lot of annual stuff.
Almost gave our new clerk treasurer a heart attack, but it's fine. She made it look. She's here. It's fine. Everything's
Well,
fine.
it's really an asset too. So,
Yeah, it's awesome.
So did we buy the whole house?
Yeah, the whole property. So like this front building, and then there's a garage in that back building. It's all ours. Yeah. Okay, were there any other comments or questions? Okay, how do you vote, Mark?
yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla? And I vote yes, so that's approved 5-0. Okay, those reports, we don't have them, so we're skipping that. Minutes. I move to approve the following minutes. Utility Board minutes from April 18th, 2023. Town Council minutes from April 18th, 2023. Executive session minutes from April 18th, 2023. Executive session minutes from May 3rd, 2023. And special meeting minutes from May 3rd, 2023.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Mark to approve these minutes. Are there any questions or comments before we vote? Okay, how do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, those are approved 5-0. Okay, Clerk Treasurer Office. Bridget, do you have anything?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Okay, so this Monsanto check that we received was completely unexpected. And it was deposited into the general fund, and I would love to move it to the community enrichment fund
How much was it?
for $17,414.03.
That
And-
was a
yeah.
settlement agreement that we received, and with that, they didn't really have any guidance on where we had to use it or how we had to use it. And so the State Board of Accounts has given guidance that it should just be deposited into general and can be used for pretty much any purpose.
And I love the idea of putting it into community enrichment.
So what all can community enrichment be used for then?
Anything that enriches our community. Like these events that we're doing, the pumpkin patch, the Spirit of Dayton Parade, the Santa Claus, what else have I done?
Improvements to the community center? Used for that?
I would love to spend other funds, like, I suppose it could happen.
We're gonna be looking into other grants on doing some of that stuff too, so.
It would just be nice to have like a chunk of money in that community enrichment fund, because as it is now, when we want to do something, we go to people like Colin at BF Fitness and we're like, hey, we're back here begging for more money, which they're very gracious and they're like, of course, we'd love to support it. But it would be nice to,
Not depend on those.
They gave
Yeah.
us another $1,000.
like, I'm not above begging, but
Well.
I asked for $1 million, I didn't get it, it's fine.
17,000, so can we do part of it now and part of it later? Why would we want to put all 17,000 in? I mean, we don't have a need for all of that to be spent right now, right?
No, but I feel like if we're okaying spending it out of there, we might as well have it in there instead of moving it every time.
We can,
Like
we
if it-
can take it out of that if we decided on a community center too, or on pumpkin patches or whatever. It's not just limited to a few things. Anything
We can't actually spend any more out of that fund than what's been appropriated, but we'll have
Right.
the money in there so that next year or the year after, Jen doesn't have to go knocking on so many doors begging for donations, and, you know, maybe if other people would like to ask their
I think Alan
employers
feels good
or.
about making this donation.
Yeah.
He does. He does it for the thank you card.
Yeah,
That's what I'm all
so
about.
just because the money is in there doesn't mean it's gonna be spent. And I think that's what you were thinking, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I'll burn a
no,
hole in my
no.
pocket and
Well,
I'll be like, you
exactly.
guys,
Yeah.
I have 17,000.
I'm glad you put it that way, because that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I don't intend to, you know, I'm responsible. It's not my money, but I just feel like it's become my baby.
It does though, when you're paying bills.
Anybody else have any thoughts? You have any thoughts?
Make it available so we can use it for the whole community. That's what we're trying to do.
Carla?
I think it's fine. It's never hurts to have a little backup for just in case.
And I love that it was like extra, like free, not free, but like I didn't know it was coming, all of a sudden we have this charity. Like, Alicia, is this legitimate? Yes, that is. What do you think?
It's great.
As long as it's.
No pressure, but everybody else
As
is
long
okay
as,
with it.
as long as we don't go hog wild on how we spend it, you know.
Well, to be fair, you would have
Should
to
be
be
good, yeah.
approved
Yeah.
by the council vote on how you spend it. So she can't just go.
He's gonna be looking over this claims docket real well now, like, where'd you get that from? Where'd you get that from? Are you okay with that? So what exactly do we need to, oh, I'm so sorry. Yes.
That's
Can you
okay.
please say your name and address for the record? Speak like super loud.
Vicki Beaver, 758 Main Street. It's settlement money, but what was the settlement from or who?
So it's from Monsanto, and it's for some sort of chemical deposit in waterways that affected various communities, and the state of Indiana and various communities joined this class action lawsuit, and then we got this money. And so a lot of times when we join class action lawsuits, they will give us, like, for example, the opioid money. We got money from a settlement from that as well, but they put restrictions on what we can use it on, so it has to be used for those purposes. This money, they don't have any restrictions on, so we just got, technically, it is supposed to be used for remediation of whatever happened. but it's not super clear unless you are into, chemical waterway stuff, exactly what it is. Like, I couldn't explain to you what happened, to be honest with you.
Okay, good. A lot of runoff and everything, in the fields and everything.
Yeah.
but I'm surprised they didn't make you use it for just utilities and stuff like that.
They
It's
did.
everything you can use it.
Yep. I mean, there is technically, when the settlement money came in, they said it was for the purpose of remediating the waterways. However, the state did not require us to use it for that. And I did reach out to the State Board of Accounts, and they said that it was fine for us to put it in general, and there were no restrictions. So,
So right now, is it in general?
Yes.
So it can just be moved to community enrichment if it's just sitting in the general fund. Okay.
I believe that's correct, but you, as always, verify with State Board.
So do we need a motion for that, or?
I mean, I think you can do a motion and then put it in the minutes. So, or you can do consensus and just put it in the minutes. Either way is fine as long as it's in the minutes.
Bridget, what was that amount?
$17,414.03.
Okay, I make a motion to move the Monsanto money in the amount of $17,414.03 to the Community Enrichment Fund. Second. Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to move that money. Is there any further discussion or questions, comments? Okay, how do you vote? Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Yes.
Ron? Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so we'll get that moved. I mean Bridget, though. Okay, town hall awnings. Do we have anything on that? Wait.
So I contacted Steve's overhead door, who apparently had done the existing awnings on the building, and asked them to come out and take measurements and see what might need to be done, and to give us a quote in doing it in fabric, and had a request for looking at them in metal as well, but my preference is going to be fabric. It's a lot nicer. So
And that's-
we'll see how the quotes come out.
For the front windows again?
For the front windows, basically I sent them a copy of the picture that was in the comprehensive
Oh,
plan.
yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
and said, this is an idea that looks pretty good. So let's see if you can do anything with that. So he said it's going to take them a little bit of time because they have to get them in, and then it's going to take them a little bit of time to get them put together. So hopefully we'll
I think
have
the
something
others
this month.
took a couple of months or so.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I just love the picture. Okay, updates. Town hall streetlights. Do you have anything on that? Or up here, you want to tell me about this? The streetlights or the brick up here? You want to update that?
Well, they're coming out, Dennis Macy is coming out tomorrow to lay the bricks. So that'll be done tomorrow afternoon. We need to be thinking about benches out there in big urns. Lafayette sent their thing, I'd rather than pass it on to you guys, but didn't have anything in it really. I like that little book you gave me that had some benches in. Everybody needs to look at the street benches and stuff, and if you spot any you like in some town, let us know and we'll track them down. Or urns or something, we can get huge urns, flower urns and stuff. We need a couple of each, so. Anyway, that brick will be laid tomorrow, so.
What did Lafayette send you? What they use?
Yeah, but it was a real modern thing, chrome benches. Margie is retired, was ahead of all that, gives us all that information. So Dennis Carson sent it to me, and it's not. It must be just one company that they buy from, and it looked ultra modern stuff. It was really. I'll pass it on there.
Okay.
That's all. And then the street lights are on order, and they'll be in July the 8th. So,
We're gonna have to get price on leases and running the conduct.
I was gonna ask Brian to start with. They did something outside of electrical last time, we had something that we did it years ago, and then when they updated, I think it was Brian. So, but yeah, I was gonna call them and start with.
Hurry, talk faster. This is like about to be the fastest meeting we've ever had. Are you done? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not the one that.
Can you speak loudly and very quickly?
I was just gonna make an observation that it would be really nice if we could use recycled materials.
I have seen
For
some
the
benches, and they don't
benches
look
and-
like, oh,
No,
look,
they
it's a
don't.
plastic jug.
No.
They actually look really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kim Quinn had some in his, last fall, had some 2 benches for Columbian Park in his paint shop and was painting the names on them, Columbian Park or something. They looked really nice. They almost looked like wood, but they were red colors and colored that looked like wood. But he said it was all recycled plastic jugs.
Uh-huh.
I think I gave you that recycle.
I think it had
Yeah.
some, yeah. They looked like a little different style, so I'll call it.
Anyone else on that?
I can look into some options too. My wife's a urban design
For small.
She is?
Yeah, so I can see who she uses.
Where's your wife been all her life?
She doesn't write grants too,
Yeah, I do know some.
Okay, I'm going to need to speak to you about 5 minutes after this meeting.
Yeah, we need a grant.
I'll give you the name and contact.
Excellent. Digitizing the tapes, Carla.
I was just getting out today, but.
Okay. Codifying the ordinances, okay, so remember last meeting when I was like, I think I have them all, but I'm just missing a few. What happens if I'm missing a few? Okay, guys, well, I'm an idiot. Those weren't the ordinances, those were the minutes that I was getting together for Gateway. I swear to you, I know the difference. For some reason, when I was in the meeting, I had it in my mind that I was collecting ordinances. I was collecting minutes. So I don't have these collected, but when I went to collect them, I can't find any of them past like half of 2019. So basically, the last time they were codified was 2019. I'm assuming the ones that I found were the ones that are already included. So I can't find anything from like mid-2019 up until 2022.
Aren't they on the website?
The ones that I have on the website are not all of them, no.
Okay.
Like, I have been putting them on the website, but,
Not all of them got there, okay.
right.
Because I know I looked at some that were after 2019, but I don't remember specifically when they were.
Yeah.
All those corrected ones are missing.
What?
Are all the corrected ones missing? We did some.
So,
Explain it to me again.
will all of that be on the tapes? I mean, not the physical ones, but the mention of them and all that, will all that information be on the tapes?
Well, what I was thinking is surely the person that wrote the ordinance would have had to email it, but the problem is finding the signed ones.
Well, you could always just, sign them again. Just reapprove them.
You'll be really.
Even though it's a different,
I mean,
some of us be the same.
if they're already approved, and we know in the meeting minutes that they've been approved, we could just find the meeting minutes that correspond and say, okay, we know these people, and then just sign it with the people who are the same,
Oh,
because they would have approved it. As long as we have the majority, it should
Okay.
be fine.
Okay.
The other thing is, you might contact Reed and just see if he has them. Because like we store all of ours, like I have a Dayton file, ordinance file. And then I've got all the ordinances that I've drafted for you guys.
give me a reason to
Probably.
check in with that guy.
So he probably does too, I would imagine.
Love that idea. Okay, great, perfect. Okay, Marshall Taylor, you said he does not need to be on the agenda. Okay, public comment. Okay, council comment. Mark? Carla? Anyone else? Anyone else for council comment? Okay.
Since we changed our bank, just so everybody out there knows, by changing this bank, the interest alone in a year, we should make at least $106,000 more on just the interest on our money. And it's ridiculous, the interest we've been getting and the bank we've been dealing with. Anyway, that's good, it's good news.
And the time we paid the fees.
So it's it'll really help me out a lot.
My only thing was the community center. This place we now own. We did meet with a, what's their
Engineer,
title?
planner,
No, not
sort of,
engineer, architect, what's like,
Plan.
I thought there was a specific name for the architect, like an architect designer or whatever. Yeah, anyway, we met with a couple of them, they walked through it, they took pictures, they did whatever, and I just haven't got anything back from them. But we did meet with them, so they said that they were gonna present us with like different, like scenarios, like maybe you just wanna get everything like ready and usable, or maybe you wanna focus on like a certain part of it first, or whatever. Anyway, I didn't get anything back, but we did meet with them, we should be getting it, so I'll send it to the council as soon as I get it. Okay, having no other business before us, this meeting